What's going on, guys? It's your boy Andy Matrix, and I got some proof. Directly from Japan. Directly from JP, baby. So this article from the Japan Times. So basically, the Japan Times is like the New York Times, right? From Japan, and they've actually got some localizers in this article spilling the beans, telling you exactly what it is that they're doing and why they're doing it and so, right? So JapanTimes.com, it says, from Japan to the world, how to translate a game. This is pretty crazy, so pay attention, okay? Pay attention. So let's start with the beginning. It says, behind the global success of Japanese video games lies a delicate task, appealing to overseas players whose expectations on issues such as sexism are increasingly influencing the content of major titles. I repeat, they're telling you, so behind the global success of Japanese video games lies a delicate task. Semicolon, right? It says, appealing to overseas players whose expectations on issues such as sexism are increasingly influence the content of major titles. So that means to bring those Japanese games over here. They always consider the political correctness in America. It says, with the majority of sales for big games now outside Japan, everything from slang words to characters, costumes must be carefully considered for a global audience. There it is. Okay, so you know how in Hollywood they would say, "Oh, we're doing this for a modern audience." In here, the keyword is global audience, meaning it's supposed to be for everybody. Nah, that doesn't work. There's a reason why there is a focus. The anime needs to have a focused audience that's interested in animation. It can't just be for everybody. So, no, this is not good. This is absolutely not good. But anyways, let's continue on. It says, thankfully, the industry and perhaps more importantly, consumers have changed a lot since those days. They're talking about the 90s and early 2000s. And we are now able to be more faithful to the cultural and emotional content of Japanese games than ever. The Sega team said. This is coming from Sega. They're talking about this, right? It says more faithful to the cultural and emotional content of Japanese games than ever. It says localization is now integral to the design process, with international gamers in mind from the start. Of course. Says one key example is how Japanese game developers dress their heroines. As the hashtag #MeToo movement changes mindsets, says Frank Genti, senior localization manager at Japanese game giant Bandai Namco. I want you to pay attention to this name right here. The name of this guy, localization manager, senior localization manager, Frank Genti. Does that sound like a Japanese name to you? He's obviously from the West. Now, maybe he sounds a little bit French, like Frank, the way it's spelled here. Genti. He has to be from North America. North America or Western Europe. One of the two. But he sure as heck is not Japanese or Asian in general, for that matters. Okay? So, again, he's saying how Japanese game developers dress their heroines meaning the females, as the hashtag #MeToo movement changes mindset, says Frank Genti, senior localization manager at Japanese game giant Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco, who is now selling themselves to the globalist agenda. He says, we tell them that this cleavage is a bit too exposed, or the skirt is a bit too short. He adds, before they weren't very flexible, but they've become more proactive on such subjects. Yeah, because they think it's gonna sell games. That's why they become more flexible. because they think it's gonna sell games, because they think, oh, Western people are a bunch of like sensitive idiots, so we have to censor the crap out of this. And it's the exact opposite. The exact opposite. Right? The people who actually care about things like this, like the what they were saying, the hashtag Me Too and all that stuff, the censorship, it's a very small minority of people. A very small minority of people. But the majority, the 80-90% of people who actually don't care, they just want to play an honest Japanese game, just raw. Just raw. No censorship from Japan. That is the majority of people, and that is where the majority of sales will come from. Not from these snowflakes. Let's scroll down. So it says, but in recent years, booming interest in manga, comics, anime, and wider Japanese culture has made the job easier, says people know what ramen is now, of course. We don't need to say noodles anymore, Genti says. His team at the European headquarters, Bandai Namco, has adopted games include. Oh wait, so his team at the European headquarters. So they have a headquarters in Japan, of course. I mean, I'm sure they have one here in America. It says including the Tekken fighting series and the smash hit role-playing game Elden Ring into a dozen languages. And remember, Bandai Namco recently they remember that whole debacle, the whole controversy about the girls from Tekken and Street Fighter. Yep, it says the job is much a cultural challenge in a linguistic one, says Pierre Frogret, localization project manager at Bandai. The player, whichever country they're from, should understand and feel the same thing as someone playing the original language. No, that's impossible. Everybody is going to project. See, this is the problem. This is the problem that we have here in America, is that we think that everybody should be like us. We think that everybody should be like us. And this has to be with the PC agenda of the West. I don't want to say the group of people, because then I'm going to get into politics, but they think that everybody should, not only that they should be like them, but feel and think the same way that they do. And that's impossible. When somebody plays a Final Fantasy game, they do not feel the same way that I feel. They do not see the story the same way that I see it. Everybody portrays themselves into the game. They portray their own visions. They portray their own mentality, their mindset, their past traumas. The problem with these people is that they don't really understand human nature. They're very they have this utopian mentality that everybody likes the same thing that they do. That everybody that everybody is going to be happy in the same way, and that is absolutely impossible. That is absolutely impossible. And that is why it's very easy to manipulate these people to do these jobs, because they're very naive. And they don't understand human nature. Human beings are pretty selfish. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm like the most selfish mofo, but everybody has a bit of selfishness in them. And this is why doing things for a global audience doesn't work. And now Bandai, they're gonna get WOKE and go broke. And finally, it says many representations which were normal in Japan in the first like a Dragon games are no longer acceptable. Says Masayoshi Yokohama, the series executive producer. We asked our teams in the United States and Europe to read the game scripts, and they tell us if they see things that wouldn't be acceptable in their country. The problem with this is that the people that are doing the localization, that are reading the scripts, they don't really understand. They're not changing things up for the rest of the country, like just translating them from Japanese to English. They're inserting their own personal beliefs, their own politics into the freaking script in the game, so that other people can buy into their beliefs. You see, that's the problem. Because they're asking, it says, we ask our team in the United States and Europe to read the scripts, and they tell us if they see things that wouldn't be acceptable in their country. Like what? Like what, for example? Like if you're a Christian, I mean, you're gonna want to see girls, being covered up, no cleavage, no, no tights showing their butt, right? And see, it varies. Individuals do not agree on everything. Even within the left wing, some people are pro censorship, some people are against censorship. That's why it's a bad idea. And they're gonna lose money. The only thing that they should work towards just translating things properly for a Western audience. But here, what's happening now is that, especially the females, they're going to, cover them up. They're going to turn them more into like feminist characters. That's what happened with Neo, The War Ends With You, one of my favorite characters. It's absolutely insanity, man. And they're telling you this is how we're doing it. This is how we are forcing Western standards, Western beliefs, Western belief systems, PC culture, political correctness onto Japan. These companies, whenever they make a game, they have these things in mind, and most likely, and then they're gonna sell it to the Japanese as well. Or I mean, they're probably gonna make like a Japanese version in a Western version, right? This is why, I mean, if you want the raw thing, if you want the real thing, like no censorship, you need to learn Japanese. You gotta learn Japanese. Take the time to learn Japanese. It's gonna take you like 3 to 5 years to learn the whole thing, right? To learn decent conversational Japanese. But this is the world that we're heading in. And I think, honestly, once I'm done studying, I think I'm gonna do the same. Just studying the Japanese language, so that I can bypass the localizers and get the raw content. Whatever your thoughts are, comment below, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for future notifications. Guys, it's your boy Andy Matrix. Godspeed, baby.